Time to pour this, huh?
Yeah. What a ride.
I know.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now I'm curious to see if you can execute this with two hands at that angle. That's a solid start. That's a really solid start and a great finish.
There we go.
1 for 1. Can we go 2 for 2? That was risky. The folks at home did not see quite how risky that was.
They're not exactly even, but that's all right.
Right, that's
Cheers.
all right. Cheers.
That's some good stuff.
It is.
Tastes like victory.
And non-alcoholic victory, I might add.
There we go. Well, welcome inside the Cards Court. So happy to be here after what has been a whirlwind of a week. The Ball State women's basketball team are the champions of the Mid-American Conference, heading on to the NCAA Tournament this upcoming Friday against Ole Miss. Griffin Leonard here with Sam Niger. Having a little bit of a party here on a nice weekday, but of course, why wouldn't you?
Exactly, Griffin. It's the season of partying now. I don't want to say the work is completely done by any means because there's still such great basketball ahead of us in March, but one of those main goals from this season for Ball State women's basketball, win the Mid-American Conference Tournament, that box has been checked, playing with house money now.
All right, well, let's go ahead and break down the tournament. Let's recap where we got from, starting with that Wednesday morning game, number 1 seed Ball State. They took on the 8-seeded Western Michigan Broncos. Early start from both teams, but the Cardinals got it done 82-53. Moved on to that semifinal, really fun semifinal against the Kent State Golden Flashes.
Even earlier start.
Even earlier. I'm a sleeper, man. I wouldn't have minded a little bit of a later game, but 1-4 matchup, 10 a.m., the Cardinals came out flying. They were able to get the job done over Kent State, the revenge game from last season that I know just based off the reactions of some of the players when they got pulled from the game at the end, you could tell how much that meant to them. And then going into the championship game on Saturday, Ball State and Toledo. Of course, we're going to break down that one extensively. But what a ride for the Ball State Cardinals to take care of business. It was a really close first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Cardinals came out as the clear better team in quarter number 4 and rode that on the way to the title. Let's break down that championship game, Sam, as we look at how the Cardinals got over the line on championship Saturday. Where did it start?
Well, I think it started, Griffin, with the semifinal on Friday. And I know that's cheesy, like you take one game at a time, but it was really the mental aspect of that Kent State semifinal that I was interested to see. Is Ball State going to be able to get over the hump of the team that eliminated them, not only from the tournament last year, but in this same game? In the semifinal, Ball State lost to Kent State. Cards took care of their business. They got over the hump, and then they were mentally prepared for the championship game. Obviously, it was a big lift after the win Friday, but as soon as Brady Sallee came over to give his post-game interview to Dom Liacani and I, he was already pointing to the fans. One more. That was the mentality going into the game against Toledo. They knew they had to win one more, and although it wasn't the prettiest of the 3 games, you could argue that it was the ugliest of the 3, they were prepared to make the necessary adjustments to walk away as champions. Anything short of that would have been a disappointment. They knew that, and they knew they had the pieces in place to walk away with some hardware, and they were able to do so.
Well, and it's a really good point because, of course, the last 2 years, the brick wall, the stumbling stone, it had been the semifinal game. And, of course, you finally get over that hump. It feels like a victory of itself.
Right.
But for the leadership of the coaching staff, the leadership of some of the players on the court to celebrate that, but also be like, hey, we're not done yet. There's still a step to go. And as we'll talk about more here today, there's still steps to go. The celebration is ongoing, but there's no reason to stop.
Exactly.
There's still some basketball to be played. But I think for me, the biggest thing that we saw in that championship game was just the pure domination, particularly in half number 2, down low in the painted area. We saw a Toledo team that has a couple of really good options down low. Nan Garcia, Jessica Cook, even Hannah Novorovsky has been able to come in spots and be those players down low for the Toledo Rockets. We saw Nan Garcia arguably have one of her worst games of her collegiate career.
Right.
And you could tell how frustrating it was for a Rocket team that wanted to try to win the rebound battle, wanted to win down low. But Alex Richard, 24 points in the second half, was able to put the team on her back and really put the Cardinals over the line in the second half of that one down low.
And for those that aren't familiar with Nan Garcia, she was Mid-American Conference conference 6th player of the year. So she's not just doing it on the stat sheet. She's actually being recognized by the conference for her abilities down low. Alex Richard and company were able to neutralize that on the offensive side, and then they were able to get some defensive rebounds as well. I mean, Alex Richard, she took over that game in the second half. You already mentioned it, the 20-plus points that she had in those final 20 minutes. And speaking of next steps, the way that you win in the tournament, yes, you can be flashy and have threes and go on runs, but if you want to win with consistency as a mid-major and pull off the upset, you have to be able to be physical with these power conference teams. If you get out-muscled in the paint, these power conference teams, especially on the women's side, they can roll you if you're the underdog. Ball State has the size, they have the physicality, they have the rebounding presence and the defensive presence down low to neutralize some of these power conference players and give themselves a chance to take the upset over Ole Miss.
All right, well, there's still a bunch to talk about as we roll through this show, getting ready for Ole Miss, getting potentially ready for the winner of Baylor and Grand Canyon out in Waco, Texas. But before we can get there, well, we're unable to have a guest in studio today. I got the chance to talk to some of the players as well as Coach Brady Sally on Sunday right after the Cardinals found out where they were heading on Selection Sunday. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll hear first from Maddie Bischoff as we roll through our NCAA Tournament special of the Cards Court, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership, and here's why. We stand behind every car we sell and are dedicated to helping our customers save time and money. All our pre-owned cars undergo a rigorous 182-point inspection and come with a 90-day warranty to ensure that you're getting a Victory quality vehicle. Plus, you'll get 2 years of complimentary oil changes and tire rotations. We're part of a top 15 dealership group and have an enormous selection of vehicles with access to inventory at over 45 locations. You always get more for your trade and the best possible rates with us. We have an excellent relationship with hundreds of lenders. Our exclusive Car Doc maintenance and membership program will help you save hundreds of dollars in the process of maintaining your vehicle. Lastly, our state-of-the-art body shop and certified technicians perform high-quality repairs and paintwork on most vehicle makes and models. Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership.
Back here on the Cards Court with Maddie Bischoff of the Ball State women's team. Just heard the Cardinals' name get called on that Selection Sunday show. What's the feeling just seeing your name go up, seeing all of you on the screen? I'm sure you've watched the selection show as a kid. What does that dream coming true mean to you?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so fun to watch with the team and, actually see that moment come to life.
Now, for you, it's been an up-and-down season. You haven't been able to stay on the court the whole year. That combination of being out there on the court but watching from the sidelines, what's the journey been like, just kind of a hybrid year for you being with the team?
Yeah, definitely different. I've never really had a major injury my past 4 years here until this year. So it was different for sure. But, when I was out, I really took a step back and, I could watch my teammates and coaches and, just everyone play. And it made me realize, I really do miss it and that, I need to put everything out there when I do get back on the court. So different for sure, but honestly, not a blessing in disguise, but, definitely makes me realize, this is my last year. I need to put everything out there.
Well, and if nothing else, there's the blessing that you got to be out there when it really mattered. How important was that to you? How special was it to be back out on the court, to play in Cleveland and have that experience? Yeah,
so special. I mean, I'm so glad, too, that I got hurt at the times I did. I mean, my coaches were very supportive at that time. They're like, you got to be glad it's happening now, not later. And they were so right. So, I'm just so grateful that I was able to come back and be able to play with my teammates at the end.
Well, Maddie, we're really happy to see you back, and we wish you the best of luck on Friday.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be back on the Cards Court presented by Victory Honda of Muncie as we break down more going into the tournament. Here on the Cards Court, just after Selection Sunday, after the selection show, we're here with Alex Richard. Alex, you're now 24 hours removed from that MAC tournament title. Just a quick reflection. What has that journey been over the course of the year to finally punch that ticket?
It's been incredible. We've worked so hard all season. Really the past 3 years before even, but this year we understood that it was our last year. We had to go out with a bang, and it's just been incredible to be doing this historical stuff with this group.
Yeah, 24 points in the second half of the MAC championship game to help the team get over the line there. Just that takeover is just an incredible effort from you, from the team. What went into it?
My teammates do a great job of finding me. Obviously, when we just have a lot of intensity on defense and we're able to get quick stops, it just kind of translates, and my teammates find me. They do a great job at that.
So we just saw the bracket fill up. Ball State, Ole Miss out in Waco, Texas. Have you ever been out to Texas?
I have a couple of times.
All right. Is this? I would assume that this is a unique trip compared to anything else.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What does that matchup kind of just bring as far? I mean, obviously you'll do your scouting and you'll do your run throughs, but just the chance to get to play to be named a 12 seed, one of the top mid majors. For this team, what does it mean?
It means everything and more, especially with this team. I just know that we're going to be able to go out there and we're going to give it our all. We're going to give them everything and show them what Ball State's all about.
Yeah, for fans tuning in Friday, what should we expect?
I think that you should expect a good game, and when you're MAC champs 2025, it's hard to stop you, baby.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us, Alex.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be right back here on the Cards Court, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie. Wrapping up our slate tonight from the selection show party, it is Coach Brady Sally. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, my man.
Yeah, I bet. And just 24 hours after the championship, the confetti coming down, just if you could reflect on that, just looking back at it a day later.
Honestly, I'm still trying to pinch myself and remind myself that this is real. It's been such a whirlwind, but at the same time, I'll be honest, like I've maybe it's my age, but I've taken the time to step back and really appreciate all the messages, all the people that have reached out, all the people that, they're in your corner, but when you hear it, it's special. So I think, just understanding that it's everything involved right now that is making this a special memory, not just for me, but the players. And, that's what this time of year, accomplishing what we did, should be like. And it just tells me like why Ball State's so special. It's been perfect.
Coach, there was that moment toward the end of the game where you kind of went down on a knee. The coaching staff came over. What thoughts were going through your head in that moment?
It was 21 years of trying to get exactly where I was standing. It was heavy, man. And I'll be transparent with you. It's something that I never questioned I was going to accomplish. But year after year, the heartbreaks, the crazy things that have happened where we came up short, the great teams that we brought to Cleveland, and just, for whatever reason, didn't quite finish the deal. It made you scratch your head. And just, I was never, ever going to let it define me. But, man, to say that I don't appreciate the heck out of these kids getting me to here would not be fair, because I'm just so grateful that they were able to deliver me to the NCAA tournament, and it was special. But it was really a feeling of 21 years of players, coaches, the work, my family, the times they've had to deal with me coming home like a bear when things didn't go our way. It was all of that just in about a 5-second span that just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I just remember kind of putting my hands on top of my head and watching the clock get under 10, 9, 8, and just thinking, holy cow, we did it. And then, the end of it was quickly who I'm doing it with, and my assistant coaches, and these 14 players, just, they're everything.
Every year we watch the Selection Sunday show, you see the teams jump up and down, clap, high five, whatever.
Yeah.
How special was it to see that group celebrating and be your group?
Like I said in a couple of the pressers up in Cleveland, you can have the trophies, you can have the nets, you can have all the stuff. That is why I do what I do. The genuineness of it, that's true emotion. That's a team that has poured their everything into doing this. And so for me to sit back, I love that I was sitting behind them all because I got to see it. That's something that, again, I may get old, I may get senile, I may get whatever, but I have a feeling I'll always remember tonight.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we're wishing you the best of luck on Friday. Looking forward to it. And, we'll see you then.
Let's go Cards.
All right. We'll be right back here on the Cards Court, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
For the best stories, access, and coverage of Ball State sports, follow SportsLink on social media platforms Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Search @BSU SportsLink.
Welcome back here to the Cards Court, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie. We just heard from Alex Richard, Maddie Bischoff, and Coach Brady Sally. You can hear the excitement, Sam. You can hear the anticipation. You can hear just the general thankfulness, the ability to have gotten to the point where they're at. But, of course, the journey's not over. They have a really, really fascinating matchup coming up here with the SEC's Ole Miss Rebels. And for the Cardinals, you look at the way these teams stack up, and I'm Ole Miss, of course, nationally ranked. They're going to be the favorites.
Yeah.
But I like the way these two teams match up on paper.
I do too, Griffin, because both of these teams have such balanced offenses. They can score at all three levels. Now, it comes down to, in my opinion, which team is able to score from multiple levels in the game on Friday. If Ole Miss is only scoring down low, let's say they outmuscle Alex Richard, but they're not able to hit from deep, Ball State has the ability to score from deep via Allie Becky or Maddie Bischoff or even Lachelle Austin. Same is true for the Cardinals. If they're not hitting threes and Ole Miss is, suddenly they have a chance to go down low and maybe score using Alex Richard and Marie Kiefer and all those bigs that we know they like to use in the rotation. But this is an Ole Miss team that felt that they were underseeded, Griffin. This team is playing with just as much of a chip on their shoulder as is Ball State. They thought 5 was a little too low for them. They thought that they would be hosting rather than, changing time zones, going all the way over to Waco, Texas. That's not they're much closer than Ball State, but it's still not the easiest travel trip. They know that they're not even the highest seed in that little grouping of 4. But no doubt I like the way that Ball State matches up with this Ole Miss team, particularly just from a scheduling standpoint. The Cardinals beat Texas A&M down in the Bahamas, and Ole Miss lost to Texas A&M by 3 at their place. So with that in mind, there's little glimmers and glimpses of weakness on this Ole Miss team, but they're going to be ready for the Cardinals, no doubt, and Ball State is certainly thinking the same about the Rebels, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a 5-12 matchup. Ball State, as it stands right now, are 12.5-point underdogs against the Ole Miss Rebels. But as you mentioned, some vulnerabilities, some potential weakness that plagues this Rebel team, but at the same time, on the other side, they've played some really good teams really, really well. They lost by 2 points to USC, who's one of the top teams in the country. They held their own in a game against UConn. They fought with Texas a few times. They're lacking, at least from what I can tell, a signature win, but they're more than capable of hanging with some really good teams. They're a team that can go far in this tournament, and I think Ball State has its work cut out for them. But with that being said, weaknesses you mentioned, the Cardinals are coming off a 7-game win streak, playing some of their best basketball of the year. It's a good time to run into a team like Ole Miss. And
as parity continues to grow in the women's game, Griffin, I think that the way that these conference tournaments are scheduled favors some of these mid-major teams. Ball State only had to wait less than a week. They had to wait 6 days between games. The SEC tournament was over 2 weeks ago. Ole Miss didn't even advance to the championship game in the SEC tournament, so they're well over 2 weeks removed from their last basketball game. They've had to sit on their hands for about 2 weeks. They only found out 2 days ago at this point, as at the time of us recording this podcast, who they'd be playing. I think that favors Ball State a little bit because Ole Miss hasn't necessarily been tested in a while. Now, granted, Ball State's a much different test than they see against Texas, one of the number 1 overall seeds in the tournament. But with that in mind, I think Ball State could take advantage of just the circumstance heading into this game as well.
So the path for the Ball State Cardinals, if they can beat Ole Miss, then they would take on the winner of Baylor and Grand Canyon. Winner would head out to Spokane with a likely matchup against the number 1 overall team in the country in the UCLA Bruins. But let's start with this first-round matchup. If the Cardinals are to pull the 12-5 upset as they did in 2009, what will go into that? Where will they find success?
Well, I think they do need to find success down low scoring the basketball. The 3-ball has been inconsistent. It was very inconsistent in the championship game. Ball State started 0 for 9 from beyond the arc. While it would be nice to sprinkle one in, that's not where you're going to win or lose this ball game if you're Ball State. If you can score down low and limit one of Ole Miss's big 4, if you can say that only 2 players have double digits in scoring, Ball State gives themselves a chance. Between Madison Scott, Kennedy Todd Williams, Star Jacobs, and Sierra Tanu for Ole Miss, if only 2 of those players have double digits where all 4 of them average double figures in scoring, Ball State gives themselves a chance. You're not going to stop the Rebels from scoring the basketball wholesale, so pick your poison, recognize the matchups that you think you can shut down, make sure you're scoring in the post, and I think they give themselves a shot, Griff.
All right, anything else Cards fans should know going into the matchup?
Look, this is a Cardinals team, like I said earlier on the show, just playing with house money at this point. You said it perfectly. There's so much gratitude, so much love, so much camaraderie in this group, Griffin, that when you add a MAC championship to that and the chip on your shoulder that you are playing in the NCAA tournament for the first time in Brady Sallee's 21-year career as a head coach, it's a special combination. We've known it's a special team all year, and it's March. Anything can happen.
Well, the season is coming to an end. Of course, we're very grateful for the opportunities that we've gotten to cover this team in our various roles. I know you're looking forward to heading out to Waco and hopefully seeing some history being made there.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, but this has been a great ride. This will be our final episode of the Cards Court this season. It's been a lot of fun doing this show the last 2 years, and we thank you all for tuning in. This has been a pretty good ride this year, Sam.
It definitely has, Griffin. Hopefully we can tack an upset on as the cherry on top, huh?
Yeah, well, we'll be watching right alongside you. For Sam Niger, for all the guests we've had over the last 2 seasons, I'm Griffin Leonard saying so long. This has been the Cards Court presented by Victory Honda of Muncie. Sam, what do you say? Let's get one more pour.
I'll pour this time, huh?